Hi everyone, my name is Zaayman. I am a performance testing director at Inspired Testing. Today I'm joined by Simon Hearne, who is a web performance architect and an expert in web performance testing. He'll be sharing some of his knowledge and insights around a very interesting and valuable topic. Welcome, Simon. I'm very excited to have this chat with you. Let's jump straight into it. Give us a little bit of an overview on yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a web performance architect, which means I don't write code, but I help companies understand how the code that they're shipping, the websites and apps that they deliver, relate to the user experience that customers have. So a lot of the time I spend helping customers understand the performance that they're currently delivering, and then working out how users respond to that, how performance relates to business outcomes, such as simple things like bounce rate, all the way through to conversion rate and business success, and then help customers work out what are the best things to do to improve both the performance of the websites that they're delivering and the business outcomes to help build success.
So how would you describe the difference between traditional load and performance testing and web performance testing?
It's a good question, and one that's almost hard to describe. So with traditional load and performance testing, and as well as other functional and non-functional testing, you're kind of looking for success. And as you're working towards success, which may be a benchmark of a certain number of users per hour, you're finding bottlenecks and clearing them until you reach the goal. With web performance, it's much more art than science. It's about working out what is right for your website and your visitors, which could be totally different from a different website and a different set of visitors. To compound that, you've got all the variables of web performance, such as the devices that your customers use, the connections that they have, whether they've been to your site before and have assets cached or not. And then on top of that, we have a huge number of ways to measure performance from different metrics, different tools, which makes it really hard to say that this is success. Unlike with security testing or performance testing, there's no real boundary for success. It's just continual improvement and measuring the changes that you make against your business outcomes and goals. So yeah, it's more art than science, I think is the easiest way to describe it.
So is that what makes it exciting to work in web performance?
Yeah, exactly that. Especially as every client you work with is different, with a different code base, a different set of customers, different business goals. So you never have one day the same as another, which makes it really interesting.
If a client could do only one thing to improve performance, what would it be?
This may seem counterintuitive, but the best results I've seen are when customers understand the performance they're delivering, so get the right set of measurements in place. Everything else kind of falls off the back of that. Any changes you make, there's no real point in making lots of changes unless you understand what you're measuring and what you're trying to achieve. So getting measurement in place is step one.
How do you prove the value of performance?
This is one where I think our industry has struggled in the past, because it's not like you can make a change and immediately see results. We've seen in the past that customers who have bad experiences may not return to a site for up to 3 months. So if you make a change, you may still get the benefits of it 3 months later down the line. So the best way we can prove the value of performance at the moment is to take a snapshot in time of what we were delivering in terms of performance and what the business outcomes were. Then make the changes that we think are going to have an improvement on the user experience that we're delivering, and measure again the business metrics and the success of those changes. It's nice to do this in a kind of stepwise fashion. So release a feature for a month, measure the impact, then release another feature. Hopefully then we can start to see performance trends over time and see the value coming out of the performance work. What's nice about performance work is oftentimes it's not a big investment of engineering time. It could be a really simple tweak, like changing a script tag to add a defer attribute. So oftentimes the investment is very small compared to the outcome that we get in terms of the return with user experience.
What are the upcoming changes in SEO, and why is performance important?
This is really interesting, and something that a lot of our clients have started to ask us about, which is the page experience update. This is an update rolling out in May of this year, 2021, where Google will start to take 3 new performance metrics as ranking signals for mobile search. So these new performance metrics are something that the industry has been needing for a while, They measure not just how fast you deliver HTML to a browser, but how long it takes until the biggest thing on the page is painted, how interactive a page feels when you tap on an element or click a button, and how much the page shifts around as you're trying to use it, something I'm sure we've all been frustrated by in the past. So these three new metrics will feed into the page experience ranking signal for mobile search. And if you achieve Google's goals across all three of them, you will get a ranking benefit, which is a really nice, if you think about carrot and stick, this is a carrot. It's a reason to work on improving performance because there will be an SEO benefit in the coming months.
Simon, in terms of industry focus, is there a specific industry that should really focus on web performance more than the others? Or is it like retail, is it banking, is it insurance, or is it any and all of the above?
That's a good question. I think historically we've seen e-commerce and retail make the best out of performance. I think it's because it's easier to measure the impact that performance has on business outcomes. But that said, we've worked with financial institutions on customer acquisition as well as customer retention. People get frustrated when they have slow experiences, and that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of customer retention. So obviously with acquisition for any company, we've got all the SEO benefits, all that, the bounce rate analysis of high load times result in high bounce rates. Everyone who has a website will benefit from better performance in general. But yeah, the case studies that are out there in the public domain generally focus on retail because it's easier to measure the impact. That said, everyone will benefit. So there's no reason not to consider web performance if you're not in retail.
Simon, we spoke about the fickleness of some of the customers out there. Can you give us some idea of the time it takes someone to decide to move on to another site or an application? You know, everything gets compared to TikTok or Instagram. That's instant. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, especially if you look at younger generations who spend the majority of their online time with a mobile device. A website is being compared to native apps. And native apps in general feel lightning fast because they can be optimized specifically for the device they're on, iOS or Android. Whereas the web is a bit more Wild West. You have to send down all your HTML, all your application JavaScript, and that causes a lot of variability, which customers don't like. So in terms of comparison, we've seen this golden rule number of 3 seconds. It's been in the web performance industry for the last 15 years that if you don't deliver content within 3 seconds, you're likely to lose half of your audience. Google did a study on this using DoubleClick a good few years ago, but that number hasn't changed because the human creature hasn't evolved that much in the last 15 years. 3 seconds is a good goal to have for delivering all of your content to a customer before they get a little bit irritated and leave. But the reason they leave is interesting. It's not because they don't want to go ahead and commit to a purchase or consume an article or whatever it is that you're delivering online. It's because slow experiences cause stress. This has been measured a number of times recently with echoencephalograms on people's brains, measuring alpha waves as they use slow websites. And slow websites can cause increases in stress by up to 50% as measured by alpha waves. And recently, just last year, Cyberduck did a study using blood pressure to show that slow websites are the leading cause of increases in blood pressure while someone is using a website. And that's even when compared to forms not submitting correctly, to annoying pop-ups, to auto-playing music. It's site speed that causes the most stress. We know that stress is a bad thing to have induced in our visitors. So anything we can do to reduce that stress will probably mean in better user experience, better business outcomes, and give us a better result from the websites and apps that we're delivering.
And healthier clients.